welcome to the Fighting Couch Potatoes podcast. Today, I'm joined by Gaddafi Crush.
My philosophy is better than yours.
And Liquid Gold Steve.
Father wasn't such a bad guy.
No
He wasn't. He wasn't at all.
He was just a shitty dad.
He was not.
He was a shitty dad.
Hey, if my dad could give me
Owenheim was
fucking,
a shitty dad.
if my dad could give me damn near immortality, fuck what he did to get it.
Oh my God.
Fuck what he did to get it.
All right.
Oh, so pretty much you're in the boat with Griffith and Father.
No,
you're okay with
don't
it.
bring Griffith into this.
They're not the same. Not even close.
Don't
he
fucking do it.
Okay, Griffith sacrificed to become immortal.
Right, his own folks, like his peoples, like his folk. I'm talking about,
the
like,
band of the Hawk.
Griffith had a connection with these folk, whereas Father did not. Father just looked down on them the entire time. Father had one stance, and that was that.
Like a fake messiah.
Yeah, Father was, like, what couldn't he do?
Lift.
Except for, not defeat a 16-year-old's philosophy.
So Matt, what are we talking about today?
So, what we're talking about today, if you haven't figured it out already, is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, this is one of those shows that I avoided, that I avoided for the longest time, because I'm hard-headed as fuck, and people tell me to watch this. Like, when I first got into anime, back in, like, high school days, I asked people for their opinion and their suggestions on anime. And not one went by without saying, well, you should probably watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I'm like, fuck that. Like, I heard it so many times, I'm like, no, I don't want to watch it. This is one of those shows that I kind of avoided for the longest because everyone told me to watch it. And now I know that sounds weird, but my idea was I wanted to hear, like, this person has this show that they really like. This person that has this show they really like. And I wanted to pick and choose, not one that was like, everyone has seen it, so you should probably watch it. You know,
Well, that's Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. Everybody watched that shit.
And Full Metal Alchemist.
and Full Metal Alchemist.
Hold on.
No.
And my bad, Dragon Ball.
And Dragon Ball.
See, I didn't hear much of Dragon Ball in high school. People were like, it was like one or two people in high school, and it was always the one kid in the back with the Goku hoodie on that said to watch Dragon Ball.
You should have watched Dragon Ball.
I should have watched Dragon Ball. I now know, but
You should have watched Dragon
that's
Ball.
a whole nother episode. Anyway, so yeah, Liquid Gold, come up to me one day and said, hey, I have this show. You give it 3 episodes and then tell me if you like it or not, right? So I'm like, fuck it, why not? So we go and sit down, we watch it. He turns on Netflix and he turns on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I didn't want to watch it, but he's like, nah, just give it a shot. And I'll tell you the fuck what. It's all right. It's not the best. It's not bad by any means. I see what's going on there. I like it. It's just, it's all right.
If they could trim the fat.
If they could trim all the fat, then it's not too bad, And
All right, hold on. We're going to get to that kind of fattiness in a second. We're going to talk about the actual story, or at least a little bit about the story. We're going to have spoilers in this shit anyway.
Sorry for spoilers.
Talk about our favorites, or not really that favorites. Why the fuck it feels like Talk No Jutsu just came out way earlier than it's supposed to, and have a good time doing it. Matt, I had to ask a question. When I say Roy Mustang, what do you think of?
Snake Jazz.
Snake Jazz? I liked his flame alchemy. That shit was nice, man. And he
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
My
God.
You know there's a death battle of them and Zuko. You know who wins? Zuko.
Probably Zuko.
Yeah, probably.
Because Death Battle will be going, that person definitely wins, but he's not going to in this episode.
Hey.
I think Zuko
Except for
shit out of Colonel Mustang. I think
if it rains, it's automatic win.
I think Zuko would put the puss on the chain wax.
If it rains, it's automatic.
I think Zuko.
Whoa. It's a terrible day for rain.
Yeah, but it's not raining. Like, when I think of Roy Mustang, it's when he disrespectfully torched that was he didn't have to do it like that. He didn't have to do it like that.
Dude,
he did.
You talking about Lust?
Yeah, Lust.
Talking about Lust? He
Murdered.
Yeah, I mean he
murdered. It was murder.
All right.
It wasn't.
All right.
It wasn't self-defense. It wasn't.
So
Nothing.
y'all know
murder.
how I talk about like Cyclops and how he did fucking Mr. Sinister? I didn't think old boy had it in him. I didn't think old boy had it in him on Lust. He motherfucking. There was motherfucker.
So
woo, like
I will. Oh,
I ain't gonna lie. I felt like he was trying to burn me to death in that room. I was like, damn, is it? You really got to just keep. You can do that. You can just keep on infinitely just fucking snapping your fingers over there. Like as long as you got them 2 fingers and them gloves on, you can light her ass.
On.
He didn't need the gloves.
He didn't need the gloves.
He had the gloves.
Not
he
with
did,
that.
And when did he not need? When did he not need the gloves?
When he
was doing it against Lust,
he had to carve the sigil into his hand. Remember, or the circle.
He burned himself and used.
Oh yeah, that. Well, I mean, he still needs the circle though. But I mean, like,
but not the gloves. Yeah, you're right.
That's the man.
But
Hey,
I love that scene right there only because, like, besides him like fucking over and over again, like straight up, my favorite part of that scene right there has to be where damn Alphonse is in the room and all he sees is Roy Mustang in the doorway, and his immediate thought was wall.
Alphonse in the suit, you can still see the eyes go.
Yeah, his eyes were big. He was, oh shit.
All right, we talked about Roy Mustang. How do you feel about Major Armstrong?
Steve, I'm gonna ask you how you feel about Major Armstrong.
He kind of whack, but he come in clutch sometimes. He does. Come on, man. Against Sloth and fucking the housewife's teacher's fucking.
That's
husband.
who came in clutch.
Yeah,
That's who. Yeah.
Hey,
Izumi's husband came in clutch. Motherfucking Armstrong's garbage ass was in there getting garbaged up. Like, oh my god, he's so garbage.
The damn. Hold on.
The worst
The damn.
thing for me
I
was,
like when the husband met Armstrong, and their first reaction once they saw each other was, "Boy, start flexing."
They did.
I mean, they had a cool flex moment, you know. They were really cool for that. I mean, that was exciting. I'm not gonna lie. Even though I don't like Armstrong, that was exciting for them to go ahead and, like, you know, bash brothers on that ass. You know, they motherfucking became the superpowers real quick. They were the Legion of Doom for a split second. Like, that was pretty cool. But
imagine that tag team.
What honestly more disappointed me was General Armstrong, his sister.
Excuse me. Major General Armstrong.
Major General Armstrong. Okay. Yes, she is the shit. But how she got done up, I want to see her fight by Sloth. When the brother and sister tag team came up on Sloth.
I mean, come on, man. She was already wore. You know what I'm talking about? Like, already wore out. Gangster shit had already happened. And, like, he was, like, the latest event in the gangsta-ass day. Like, I like that these people weren't, like, you know, like, oh, I broke my arm, but I can still use it. Like, I like that when they got fucked up, they got fucked up. And they had to deal with that shit the whole day. I did like that. And that there wasn't exactly a sensu bean around.
Damn, if they did have a sensu bean, maybe it would have been like a Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, but, like, not everybody could really just use it.
Not everybody, but some people.
And like, apparently there's not as many alchemists in the world as there are just regular people. Like, apparently it's kind of rare.
Well, that's why they call them the dogs of the military. They don't, like, call them to everybody.
They don't call
they
them.
don't call them soldiers.
They don't call them to everybody.
They don't call them soldiers.
But they're special forces. I mean,
yeah, it's like a special forces division.
Yeah.
They get special perks and everything, but they fucking watch. They can fucking show that watch anywhere.
I mean, it's a good...
past the desert area or below fucking.
It's a good way to keep psychopaths under your eye, under your watch.
It didn't do very good for one of them.
Was Edward a fucking psychopath?
Yes.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
You saw what he went through. Besides trying to bring his mother back from the dead and bring back something from the fucking...
That's not what turned him into a psychopath.
What do you think about the brother?
Or then his brother
him and his brothers him and his brother, Edward and Al, were psychopaths to begin with. They like unreasonably were able to learn as much as they did at such an early age. They motherfucking their first thought was let's break the ultimate rule. Like
They're children though.
it's
So?
no. Okay. A child sticking a fork in a light socket. You're a child. You're dumb and you probably deserve that. Okay, good. Now.
Human transmutation.
Yeah, bring in the dead back.
Now your child suffocating grandma in her sleep, breaking the ultimate fucking rule, is a psychopath. We have a problem with that child. Like the child who knows the ultimate rule, like don't ever do shit like this and goes and does it, there's a fucking problem with those kids. They're psychopaths.
All right, so apparently
The main characters are psychopaths.
They're psychopaths. I mean, let's get to the main characters, the protagonists of our story, the Full Metal Alchemist and his brother, who's a suit of armor.
Damn.
Good God,
That's it.
that's all he gets. That's all he gets.
That's all he did.
That's all he gets.
No,
from me.
man, Alphonse,
nice, but like,
he was all right until like when he finally saw the truth. That's when he got real.
yeah.
At least enough competent fucking alchemists.
Well, that's what was really cool. I like the details in the show about
Competent.
what do you say? Did you say consonant?
He said compliment.
Consonant.
A compliment.
Dominant.
He tried to slip that shit in too, like nobody was gonna hear it.
No, I said competent.
The second time.
But the first time I said competent. I said
You
fast.
said compliment.
Competent.
Condiment.
Condiment.
Ketchup.
Mustard.
He's a ketchup of an alchemist. I like that.
He's a
Soy sauce over there. Yeah, I like
Mayonnaise,
that.
a lot of Malcolmists around here.
Anyway, Matt, get to your opening, please.
So, damn, I lost my train of thought on the ketchup.
Who are these boys?
These boys
Who are our main characters?
are two orphans.
Two brothers.
Two brothers who lost their mom and decided one day to study alchemy because that's a thing in this world. It's not magic, it's science. And they decided to try to bring their mother back from the dead. So when they tried to bring their mother back from the dead, they saw the truth, or the truth ate them, or
They saw the truth.
They saw the truth.
You see
a
the
whole black hole opened up and ate them motherfuckers. And like, mind you,
Oh, big eye.
Edward got off easy. Alphonse got ate. The only reason Alphonse came back was because Edward had broke another rule and imbued a suit of armor with his brother's soul. But not really, because his brother was still in the truth. It's weird. It's really weird. Anyway,
He was in the in-between.
He was somewhere.
His brother's body was in the inside the eye of truth, but his soul was in the suit of armor.
Yeah. So one thing I really did like about the show, it has to do with Alphonse actually, about him being in the suit of armor. He doesn't age, right? It's because it's just his soul. It's his body. He don't.
No, his soul and his body age. It's just that.
Well, his body ages there, but his soul. Hear me out. Shut the hell up. So, his soul's in the suit of armor, right? Yeah. And he still sounds the same age, right? Like, you can hear him mature over the show, because, like, he starts out as, like, yeah, he's the bigger brother, but he's still the younger brother, right? Like, he always looks for Edward for help and shit. And throughout the show, he sees the truth, he has character development, and he matures, and he still sounds like that little boy who was trapped inside the truth.
I wouldn't say the whole time. He had a high-pitched voice anyway, but...
Well, I know he had a high pitch. That's besides the point. I'm saying it was really cool that, like, he doesn't seem like he aged past that point where he was 8, but he has. Because that was, like, one of the biggest points of the show, was, like he don't sleep.
He don't sleep.
He don't sleep. He don't eat.
Like, he totally aged. Like, because he even had moments of, like, wanting, like, a girlfriend.
Yeah, he matured.
Like that's aging. Like, his soul matured and his body aged. Like they kind of went hand in hand. Like it's almost like his brain still matured.
His
You know
soul,
what I mean?
Yeah, he's still
his
mature.
soul was wandering
Like,
with the suit.
he totally matured and grew. But I mean, like his body, his suit of armor body didn't, of course, but his body in the other side that grew while he matured.
Yeah, all he could do. Yeah.
Like,
You want to call Edward a psychopath and Alphonse is not sleeping, eating, shitting, pissing, taking a shower. This motherfucker is just, what am I supposed to do? This motherfucker stands in the dark
I feel
at
like
night.
when
this man
When Edward was sleeping, Alphonse just went out and about fighting crime like Batman in each town.
Hey, you know what?
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to see that in a dark alley. Fuck that. Like, you see a dude just in a dark alley and he just takes off your head. Nah, I don't need that purse. Keep it, bitch. I don't want it.
I mean, it's apparently against his philosophy to go out there and fuck people up. So he'd never do anything like that.
Hold on. He can fuck people up. He can't kill nobody.
He can't fuck nobody up. Like, he can attack and defend, but he can't fuck nobody up. When you ever see Alphonse fuck somebody up? Not even the other suit of armor, he didn't fuck it up.
Oh, he beat up Barry. Barry, chop him.
Come on now. Everybody know Barry won that fight. Stop playing.
No,
And
Barry
he-
lost that fight.
Like, he won that fight. Did you go back and rewatch that fight?
Yeah, I watched that fight.
Because Barry cut his ass.
No, Barry got his
Like,
ass beat.
Barry got attacked for a little while and got fended off for a moment, but Barry beat that boy's ass. That
He
boy
beat
wasn't
their
ready.
ass.
He wasn't ready for Barry when Barry got, man, stop. Alphonse and Elric beat no one's ass. Ever. Which I do appreciate that out the show. I thought that was because, ain't no way you about to come out here and beat on these real motherfuckers.
That's
Like-
because
like-
Scar's out here.
Like, every time they ran up on somebody, they got their asses beat the fuck up. Which is
Ling,
why they decided to go ahead
Greed.
and call out.
No, they beat up that preacher, the old man preacher.
They didn't beat him up. They talked him into telling on himself.
They did tell him
They
on himself.
didn't beat, man. The preacher tried to get the girl to shoot. Who do you think they beat up in the show?
Their fake dad.
They attacked.
He punched his dad.
They attacked. Okay, we're gonna talk about it. The Chimera. He attacked that man because he did something that was
He just taught his kid the fusion dance, man. What the fuck is wrong with that?
with his dog,
With her dog.
with their dog.
Forcefully.
So he beat up on a guy who wasn't defending himself.
Now that man was a
Hold on,
psychopath.
I wasn't starting on this whole thing.
That man was a literal psychopath. Don't look at me and go, oh,
so
he
the
was
one
right.
time Edward beat somebody's ass is when he beat on a guy who wasn't defending himself.
He didn't beat up father.
No,
How?
he won the fight.
He won the fight.
He sure won the fight, but
How did he not beat him up?
he did kind of fuck father up. Let me quit bullshitting. I forgot he did whoop father's ass at the end. Like at the end, he kind of went ham on father, which didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, father should have.
Like
He didn't have God. He was pretty much a false messiah the whole time. That's all he was.
Well, that's the whole
I
show
don't
was
think he
people
was a
trying.
messiah.
That was the whole point of the show was people were trying to play God, and they did that thing that it's simple mathematics. All right, you fuck around, so you find out. So father fucked around, and he fucking found out.
No, but he had.
And Alphonse and Edward was like, "Let me fuck around." So they found the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they weren't much different than the Chimera guy, than father. They were just as shitty.
Why do you think Edward gave up his alchemy?
Because he had
Because it was the easiest way out. Of like, it was the one way he could give some shit away and still be him. And he got to like lose his heart or another arm.
Well, he was trying to get his brother out.
He was
That
washing his newly regained hands.
This is what it was. He was. Oh, were you saying washing his hands?
Well, I was going to say hand, but I'm like, no, he regained the other arm, so he was washing his hands.
He was washing his hands to the situation.
He was like, man, alchemy done got us in some shit.
Let me get out of here.
Get out of this fucking
Let
shit.
me go chill.
That was kind of funny to see, like, at the end, like, when he got older and everything, the aftermath, when he was trying to do it still. It's like, nah, bitch, you don't got that shit no more.
I think he was just as bad as his dad, leaving that girl behind. Winry?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
She even said
He didn't leave her behind. He didn't hop on the train.
Yes,
And,
but
and
you heard?
skedaddle.
Did you hear what she said?
With his back turned to her, the same way his daddy had his back turned to his mama. Like, he's doing the same shit. The thing he hated so much, he's going down the same path. He's going to have kids and then fucking disappear. Like, he's going down that same exact path. No. How do you figure? Like
the whole end of the episode.
That was the symbol of it. Like, all right, just wait on me. I'll be back.
Yeah, he just said wait on me. Back.
What did Hohenheim tell
oh wait,
to tell Miss Elric? Right.
He didn't drop no baby in that though.
How do we know?
Okay, maybe he did.
Right.
He did say half a life.
And like, he was taller now, so she couldn't make fun of him for being short. And she was already feeling him when his shoulders got big because he was maturing.
Alphonse went to Sheen for some pussy. That man said he was going for traveling. That man went to get some pussy.
He went to go get his little princess girl.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you have?
She reminded, I know it's going to sound like fucked up. She reminded me.
Is it fucked up?
Is it fucked up? Is this racist? She reminded me of Ling Xiaoyu. And the only reason it was because of the pigtails and the panda.
It's kind of like with Feng, that look. They just represent that look. That's all. So I mean, that's pretty valid.
That panda, that little bitch has some moves, and the panda was doing the same fucking shit she was doing the whole time, like sitting on her shoulder. That fucking panda was a stand. Can't convince me otherwise.
I'll try.
Go ahead.
We only saw the panda do anything once. Every other time, it was just a thing on her shoulder or getting kidnapped.
She's the stand. The panda's the user.
There you are. There you are. Now you got the story right.
All right. How they do my man Hughes like that?
What story are we talking about?
Well,
I mean, you want to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole?
So wait. Before we start doing that,
if we want to talk about real story, we can talk about.
I mean, y'all want to. That's what you said you want to do.
Let's
a little bit of story.
Let's explain some characters, and then we'll put all the characters into the story a little bit. So I'll tell you what. Let me talk about the world that we're in. So this world, the world of Full Metal Alchemist, is it starts out and you're in a country, right? Country ruled by the King Emperor of everything.
Pure.
King Fury. Yeah, that kind of bothered me just a little bit.
Pure King Bradley.
Fucking Omni-Man.
His name is King Bradley, but that's his name.
That's his actual name. It's like,
but he's the Fuhrer of the country. Armistice? Armistice? How do you say it?
I think it's Armistice.
Armistice?
I think it's Armistice.
I actually only watched it in sub, and I kept missing the name of it somehow. I couldn't hear it.
It's on some fucking maps, man. You just couldn't.
I could see the word, but I couldn't hear how they pronounced it.
Because it was like this. They were the Germans. What was the people above them in the snow? The one that Kimberly fucking double-crossed.
Yeah, but what do you think they are?
They're Russian.
They're Russians?
They're the Russians.
The Germans, the Russians.
Because they even looked like Russians. They had the fucking top hat, the scruff top hat, fucking long black coats and shit.
Cool.
How they would see fucking.
And how they were real tough and like,
No, they were in the snow.
They were super tough.
And then the Chinese people
passed the sand and
and then the sand people, the brown people that nobody liked.
Fish falling spread out, motherfuckers.
Hey, it's not me. Hey, like I like that though. It was like, okay, let's just get all the racism out in one shot. We'll make a new race. They're brown people with red eyes. We got it.
Perfect.
Got it. This will work, and everybody will understand. I like that. They added that in as like a little political hint.
I gotta ask Gaddafi, because you watched it first, or this is your first time watching it.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the different philosophies? Like, do you think it was just the same thing? They were just trying to put their own shit to it, or
No, I think everybody had wildly different philosophies. It
like alchemy and the fucking.
At one point it was like interesting to see them have like battles of philosophy, especially like when the boys couldn't win a fight, like a physical fight, then they would just like revert to talk no jutsu, and they would cry and be like, "Oh, but like you can't just be fucking people up." It's like, I feel you. You can't just be fucking people up. It's kind of wrong. But
And then Scar showed up and said, "I'm still gonna kill you, but it's wrong."
like after a while,
Scar was sweet.
After a while, it was kind of grating to like watch these philosophy battles every fucking episode. Like at one point, it was cool, and I think the only person's philosophy I actually really liked was it was probably Greed and Major General Armstrong, General Major Armstrong, Super Armstrong woman.
Because she said, "I don't care what it takes. I just want to make sure that I fucking."
Well, I like the way she treated her soldiers because like she do nice shit sometimes, you know, for like
That's a nice watch she gave me.
You know, not that, but like, you know, she didn't lock the fucking doors behind us.
That was the watch.
You know, she didn't barricade us. You know, she kind of let us slide and then like kind of act cool about it. You know, she didn't make a big deal about it. I like that because like she's pretty dope.
She liked her soldiers because those soldiers were fucking iron on iron.
And I mean, Greed and Father, I mean, they were exactly, yeah, they made their point and they stood on their fucking point. That was that. They were like, nope, this is how I'm going to be and fuck you. And I was pretty happy. Ling, he was pretty cool. I don't even remember what the fuck his philosophy was other than he wanted to rule the kingdom.
Of Xing.
Besides that, I mean, you know, he was cool. His ninja girl was cool. Ninja grandpa was cool.
Ninja grandpa was cool.
Ninja grandpa was the shit.
Until he turned into two ninja grandpas.
And I mean, you know.
Yeah.
and Mohawk man, what the hell was his name?
Oh, the lieutenant or fucking
Of
General Major Armstrong.
What was her people called? They had a name.
They were Brickaneers, Northern Brickaneers or something like that.
That's not it.
It was something like that.
That's not it.
What do you think Hughes?
Because he was.
What do you think his philosophy was?
Because he was Lieutenant Buccaneer.
Okay, that might have been it.
He was Buccaneer. What the hell was their people called?
Probably just the northern troops of Armaturus.
They had a name. They had a specialty name. Because they guarded the Great White Wall, trying to stop the White Walkers.
Against it started with a D. It was like Dragmas, something like that. That was the people.
It's crazy because like after you met them, they said that name every episode.
Because that was their main antagonist at that time, until Kimberly showed up and was like, "Hey."
Like I'm talking about to the very last episode, that name got like hollered, and it was I can't remember that damn name.
Well, I can't remember either.
So, we have this country that's run by King Bradley. I'm not going to try to do that again. King Bradley. And throughout the show, you get to see that the veil is kind of lifted on the Elric brothers' eyes on what's really going on. You know?
Okay.
Because they're raised to believe, you know, King Bradley is like supreme ruler and all this, you know, like we have alchemy, then you're not supposed to break these rules. And then you get like the other characters we were talking about who come in and they have their own sort of alchemy, like the like Ling and his sister, and then you had people from like Scar's place where they had different types of alchemy, like his brother when he created or he tattooed his arms, where one would destroy and one would create, and then you had the Elric brothers doing the transmutation
with their hands.
Because they figured out the truth, or they witnessed the truth and was able to do it without doing a circle because
they were making a circle.
Again, it's not magic, it's science. Because you can't create, it's called equivalent, it's exchange. You can't create nothing or something from nothing. You have to, like, they have to carry around these ingredients to create these things. They can grow parts of the road, but the road further down from the way that they're trying to use gets pulled up because they're using it over here. You know, they just don't start creating shit out of nothing.
Unless you got Philosopher's Stone.
Unless you have a Philosopher's Stone.
What kind of things do they create?
Oh, they tried to bring their mother back. That was the first thing they did. And that didn't go too well.
Maybe they have Philosopher's Stone.
Then the brother, oh man, the fucking, let's talk about one of the first episodes, the guy with the ice.
In the water.
Or the what? It was ice. He was like making
water?
big ice shit, and then fucking Scar showed up, started fucking kill him.
What you? Okay, hold on.
That wasn't ice. That was like stone and like cannons he was making.
That was the ice one.
No, the first episode, the dude made. He was pretty much a waterbender, and fucking you met Roy Mustang, and the veil was lifted on the viewer of King Bradley the first episode when he killed the dude.
That was just justice, in my opinion.
Am I talking the first guy, very first episode, the dude that was trying to make the transmutation circle in the city? When Father opened his eyes and shit. You don't remember the first episode like that? The very first episode, how you meet the Full Metal Alchemist is there on top of a roof looking for a man.
Yeah.
And that man is trying to kill King Bradley, and the veil is lifted on you immediately when King Bradley tries to kill him. And where's Scar at in the first episode? He didn't show up until after.
I thought he was in the first episode.
Until the first Chimera showed up. When the first Chimera showed up, that's when Scar showed up.
Because they was looking
because he
for
killed
him.
him.
Talking about the second episode?
It wasn't the second episode. It was like fourth, something like that.
Third or fourth episode, yeah.
But it wasn't like the first episode. Yes, semantics. Godolphy, semantics.
No, I'm just trying to remember what. I don't remember King Bradley killing nobody in the beginning.
The very beginning, the first episode, it was because they showed Kimberly and everything in the jail cell.
Kimberly in the jail cell. I don't remember.
All right,
honestly, I don't remember that particular part of it, but
I remember the veil was lifted over your face the first fucking episode. Like King Bradley was not. He wasn't all that. He wasn't the high spirited guy everybody thought he was.
He couldn't have been. He was like the ruler of a country.
Omni-Man.
And a badass.
King Bradley was a fucking badass.
Yeah,
I won't bullshit. Wrath was that boy.
With his all-seeing eye. That's the image.
I think it's fucked up that
the guy with the Itachi lines.
Oh yeah, he was the damn. Well, I don't see anything Itachi. But anyway, yeah, he was a waterbender.
No, with the lines. That's all I'm saying. Just the lines right there.
Yeah, he was a waterbender, man. I forgot about that guy.
But that was the first episode and everything.
So fucking unimportant.
It was so fucking unimportant. But if you think about it, the first episode showed you a lot more than it should have showed you in the first episode if you rewatched the show.
I probably should have rewatched it after binging it.
I'm not saying that.
I probably should have rewatched the first couple episodes after binging it, so I missed it. I don't remember.
Okay, it ain't no thing. It's just watching it over again. You kind of see different things.
Yeah, I mean, you should, especially the show that's written in as fine detail as that one is.
And I'm not saying fine detail has to always happen, but they could have trimmed the fat just a little bit. Maybe like 15, 20 episodes.
We're gonna continue on right after this Godolphy confessional.
Welcome to Godolphy Crushes. Just saying. I don't like Full Metal Alchemist. I'm kind of disappointed. I originally watched, I think, an episode of Full Metal Alchemist and decided it was a cool show, but it's not for me. Probably a really good show, but it's just not for me. And upon watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, at least I can say, is absolutely fucking garbage. Not for me. I don't think it's really for anybody. I think it sucks. I think it sucks pretty bad, and I'm disappointed that I didn't enjoy my time more. And this has been Godolphy Crushes. Just saying.
thank you, Gaddafi, for that eye-opening, truth-seeking, absolute masterclass confessional. Continuing on with our story, let me introduce, or let's discuss our villains. Now, earlier in the episode, I said something about Father trying to play God. And one big reason that I was able to see that out of the show was his chimeras he created were modeled after the 7 deadly sins.
His homunculus.
He was homunculi. Homunculus. I thought it was chimeras.
No, you fuse something together, make chimeras.
Chimera.
Yeah, he made chimeras.
Oh, yeah, it's homunculus. Okay.
Greed had chimeras for some fucking reason. For some...
Yeah.
He had friends.
So,
yeah.
Those was his friends.
Go ahead.
Those were
Introduce
his
them,
friends.
and I have something to say about them.
So
Don't talk about my boy Greed like that.
I like
one, I think the first one we're introduced to is lust. Which I think everyone can imagine why lust is called lust.
Big old titties.
They weren't even big.
Steve's like, big old titties.
They weren't even big. She just had them out.
And our worst character, Envy.
Oh, God.
What?
Man, fuck
Really?
Envy.
What? What?
I want to be friends. That's the way we get the
Envy.
fuck out of here.
Envy was the best homunculus.
Greed was the best too.
Greed.
Wrath was, no, fuck that.
Greed.
Wrath was the best.
Greed was the coolest homunculus.
So one reason I said that Father was trying to play God was even the creatures he created, the homunculus, were all named after the 7 deadly sins. You had lust, greed, gluttony, pride, sloth, envy, and wrath. Which, wrath is that dude. Wrath happens to be King Bradley, because he is, in fact, that fucking dude. Which, I'm gonna, for me personally, I'm gonna name off the ones like my top 7, right? But it's more gonna be like
So a whole thing.
it's more it's a whole thing.
So
my
it's
top
like,
7.
So what you're saying like best to worst is what you're trying to say?
So yeah, best to worst. All right. So from best to worst, it's wrath, greed, gluttony, sloth, envy, lust, and then fucking bullshit ass pride. Pride was that little shit in the corner the whole time. It was like, I'm just better than you. Shut the fuck up. Get your little motherfucking ass out of here.
Because it's pride. All right. What I wanted to ask Crush earlier was because you listened to Sub and Dub made it 2 different people or 2 different voices. I'm not asking for Ling. I'm just asking the first Greed had a different voice than the second Greed.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Like,
he did.
but you knew the difference when Ling was taking control and everything.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
There was 3 voices
That was crazy.
total. Yeah. I like that, man. I really like the Ling and Greed situation. So I do have something to say about Greed.
Okay.
I like first Greed also.
Yeah, I like first Greed too.
However, what confuses me, and this is kind of, I guess, this might be more like, maybe I don't understand the show as well. Okay. So we have the Chimera guy, the doctor, the one that fucked his daughter over, right?
And his wife.
And his wife, right? The one who just fucked his family over, and then Scar did the right thing. Anyway, let me not get into that. Let me not get into that. Okay. So he was like the Chimera doctor. He was like the fucking dude, right?
Yeah.
And the Chimera he made, like your first time seeing a Chimera, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, he made a thing, an animal thing that can talk. He made a Pokemon. Cool. It's fucked up how he did it. I'm not here to talk about that right now. But it's, okay, cool. He did that. Then, like, the next episode, you see Greed. And Greed has a gang of Chimera with him. Like 4 or 5 of these some bitches. And these 4 or 5 some bitches are like humans, and they can talk, and they can do any fucking thing a human can do, and they just part animal. And then it was kind of like never explained where those fucking Chimera came from. But my question is how can Chimera God, the god of Chimera making, like, how can that be his apex? That bullshit Pokemon thing he created, And then there's just somebody else over here just like, oh, you slap a chimera together. And Greed mentioned how easy it was to do. Like, who did it? And the how?
Steve's about to go Philosopher's Stone.
Is that the answer? The Philosopher's Stone?
I'm going to explain a little bit more, but that's pretty much the thing.
Go ahead.
If you think about it, all right.
Pulls out the Sorcerer's Stone on that ass.
Sorry, it's like that. They even explained it early in the show. It's like you have a soul that you can exchange for anything.
Right.
So if that Philosopher's Stone can make it, it's like a cheat code. You fucking you make life because you're exchanging a life for a life. So what I'm trying to say is the doctor didn't have that. He was actually making it from scratch. And he could only make, you saw after his wife, he couldn't make anything. He could make like some bullshit fucking like bird half fucking snake shit. But
his wife was a bullshit chimera thing too.
Yeah.
As opposed to,
because he didn't have what Father had. He didn't know about Father. He was just a state alchemist that could do those kind of things.
So those chimera did not come from Father.
No.
Right.
No,
the ones that Greed had with him.
He could Greed can also make it too because he's a Philosopher's Stone. There's millions of lives
inside not millions, but a ton of lives inside each Philosopher's Stone.
Yes. Yeah, and he can
thousands.
And what did Greed do every time he died? He brought himself back. You can take life from your shit and make their own, like, I know I'm saying like a lot, but the doctor didn't have what they have. The doctor
didn't have access to a Philosopher's Stone.
He didn't have the veil taken over his face. He didn't know King Bradley was a homunculi.
That doesn't matter. No. That doesn't fucking matter whether he knew anything about King Bradley.
He was a trash
or anything
fucking
like that. But like, if he's like God of like, okay, here's my point.
Okay.
If he is God of fucking chimera, right, and his apex, whether it was with his wife and a cat and his daughter and a dog, it doesn't matter. He took two souls and combined them together into one thing and was able to make garbage, right? Right, as opposed to what Greed and friends were able to make, right? Yeah. Whomever made those chimera, right? Doesn't even matter who made them. Then what the fuck was the point of showing us the doctor?
Show us the fusion dance.
But like
to show us the fusion dance. To
immediately turn around and say, yeah, but that fusion dance was garbage. That'd be like getting the Patara earrings and then Vegito getting smashed. Then Vegito getting his ass beat the fuck up. Like, it was like, what
all
was
his explaining was they were...
Do you get what I'm saying? Like, as far as storytelling is concerned, why show me something and then immediately tell me it's garbage? Like, the very next episode go, yeah, that thing that we just got you all emotional about is garbage. It was terrible. It was a waste of time.
What do you think Scar did? He took care of it.
Yeah, Scar took care of it, but that doesn't...
He took care of the garbage.
That doesn't answer...
Like,
why
what,
even?
Okay.
Why
are you
even,
asking why his name was?
No.
Why you're asking?
My question simply is, as a story, why show me the Patara earrings and then Vegito get his ass beat? Like, why show me that you can do a fusion between people and then show me that was garbage?
Because there's better garbage out there. What the story is trying to say is there's below average people and there's above average people. And these above average, they even said that the military has secrets, and those secrets are they have an undead army because they have the Philosopher's Stone.
Right.
Like,
but that isn't like they built this guy up to be the bee's knees, right? When it comes to chimera things, right? And then immediately there was no build up to it. There was no the very next time you see a chimera, you see just how terrible of a chimera maker that guy was. What was the point that they were trying to? What was the point they were trying to get across?
Just listen to me. I'm not going to say Philosopher's Stone. The Elric brothers were always trying to look for a way to get their body back without with a Philosopher's Stone or without a Philosopher's Stone, and they heard of this doctor that made a chimera, and they were wondering what he did to maybe figure out about their body.
Right.
The other chimeras were because they were Greed's henchmen. They did show them why they were a trash chimera because Greed had a hell of a lot better ones, but the doctor didn't have what they had, what the military.
I think what Steve is trying to say is they have this guy who just happened to figure out how to do it, right? And quote unquote, do it the right way. But you also have this guy who's been doing it for way fucking longer and is able to make more powerful chimeras, but because he has the resources to do so. Not some guy who just lives in his apartment doing it in his basement. I think that's what Steve's trying to get at.
Okay.
It's like, because
this doctor was not just some guy who happened to learn it. This doctor was somebody and I'm asking you, like, he wasn't just some guy who learned how to do it. Just, oh shit, this is how you do it. Okay. Yeah. And I'm a fucking basement nerd, and no, he was a state alchemist who got paid to do this shit. It was his study. Yes, he was about to lose his work because he created bullshit. Because he was the top-notch chimera guy in all of Armistice. He was the guy for chimeras. There was nobody else. Him. The man. In Central. Motherfucking chimera maniac man. And what I'm getting at is they took us through this whole journey of this doctor about to lose his ability to be a state alchemist because he makes trash chimera. And the only time he ever did anything good is 10 years ago, however fucking long it was, when he transmuted his wife into a chimera, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think he got his state alchemist license when he made
doing that,
yeah,
right?
Doing
That's
that.
how okay. So with all this study, all him being like this brilliant scientist man who's down on his luck because he can't make shit, you know? We went through this entire saga with this guy, the build up to him, broke, and then like him turning his daughter and his dog into a chimera thing for for the sake of being an alchemist. Still, we go through all of that. It's a big emotional journey just to be told that none of that fucking mattered.
Yeah,
like the very next episode didn't matter.
If honestly you took it from that, yeah, that story just said it didn't fucking matter. It was big sad boy hours. That was pretty much all it was.
How do y'all see what it told you?
I see it differently, as in like you saw the guy, like that's the thing, right? Is you have this person who's supposed to be the expert in the situation, right? Like expert in creating these chimeras, and you see him not figure out, but like do besides the point of him doing this shit to his daughter and all that, he's been making these chimeras from other animals and stuff like that. But then you're introduced to the better chimeras later on because you have someone who's just better at it.
Not later on. Immediately. The very next episode.
Well, that's later from the last one. Yeah, later on.
Not enough.
So
right, not enough to tell a story.
It's showing you that while these guys are just now like the state alchemists themselves who aren't involved with this ulterior motive bullshit is just now figuring it out. But we've been doing this for years. I think that's what it's saying. Like we've been way past that point years ago.
Okay. I want you to go on a journey to find the Dragon Balls. All 7 of them, right? Go on this long, arduous journey to find the Dragon Balls. And when you get them in your hand, for somebody to go, oh man, bro, but if you had this magic glove, you can get anything. And it's like immediately the Dragon Balls have no value because now you want the magic glove. And it's like they totally devalued their own story, in my opinion, by giving you all that depth about a character who, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't fucking matter. We don't even really mention chimeras again until we get up to Major General Armstrong. Like, that's the next time we even... So, like...
I think it's showing you that, like, the enemy in this situation is saying, oh, that's fucking child's play. You know what I'm saying? Like, this person who had to study and figure this shit out, how to make it work right. Oh, no, the fucking child's play.
And that's not even really...
I think that's what's going on in this.
Like, us saying that, greed created these chimera or whatever, that's all just assumption anyway. Because they never care to tell you where the fuck these things come from. And after Bradley kills the chimera, except for the Rat Man, we don't see the Rat Man again until episode 62. From like episode 5 to episode 62, like, and then from in between there, you see 4 more Chimera. Like they make it seem like such a big deal about these Chimera for them to have really no stake in this.
When they really bring up Chimera, other than
that 4th episode, and then the 5th episode, and then we don't. That's what I'm saying. We don't get them again until we get up to like fucking episode 58 or some shit like that. 59, 57, 40, 42. Like I don't fucking know. But it's like, this show does that a lot. What I'm kind of getting at overall is that it goes out of its way to explain something, and then to turn around and say, it sucks. It doesn't work. Like the arc of these motherfuckers trying to figure out how to put Western alchemy and Eastern alchemy together. And then everybody being like, oh, well, Eastern alchemy, they use the power of the dragon, and Western alchemy uses the power of the tectonic plates, but there's something blocking them from using the power of the tectonic plates. And then we learn later that, like, the power of the tectonic plates is being blocked by all the souls that Father has running through these tunnels. And then they stop the souls from running, and it's like, oh, now you have absolute power to your tectonic plates of your Western alchemy. And it doesn't make a difference. It made, like, we went through this whole thing, and it didn't make a difference. Like, now Father's souls are cut off, and now you can use real alchemy. Nobody's alchemy got stronger. Nobody's alchemy got bigger, better.
Were they supposed to?
Nobody actually. If you go from not being able to use your full potential to being able to use your full potential all of a sudden, yes, something should change.
No, all he did was just block their way of doing it.
Right. That was it. And once that was open, that gate was back open to them to be able to take it from the tectonic plates or whatever fully, and not a piece of it like he had them kind of valved off. Nothing changed. Nothing mattered.
Maybe it's just the way they were doing it. Like the way they were taught to do it. Because like you were saying, it's in the East it's the tectonic plates, and the West is because they're in the West they were using the knives. Remember?
No, it was like East. But they were using in the East. The girl was using the knives. That was her way of doing it. But there were other ways of doing it.
So and their alchemy anyway.
Yeah, other ways of doing it. That was just her way of doing it.
And their alchemy really wasn't made for like
destruction.
Yeah, they're medicine and fucking
medicinal healing and stuff.
So they were the medical ninjutsu.
Yeah, kind of, pretty much. Yeah. It's just that the way alchemy was even being used, that's what I'm getting at. It's like nothing changed
so
from the moment that they cut Father's souls off from getting in the way to before that. Nothing changed. It was the same. Like, what was even the point of bringing that up?
You know what?
Semantics.
I was gonna think of semantics, but like, then what was Naruto? They used jutsu to talk it out.
Naruto used talk no jutsu, yeah, absolutely. But what are you asking?
What I'm asking is like, yeah, they got stronger, but at the very end, they would talk it out and just get it over with.
That doesn't add up to what I'm saying. Like when okay, tell you what, I got you. When Naruto got his full power unlocked, did you see a change?
Yeah.
Right. You saw a change. When Naruto went from not being able to use the nine-tailed chakra, like as much as he wanted, to being able to control the entire nine-tailed chakra, got the big nice cloak, and he was super cool, right? Mm-hmm. When he got that, there was a change.
Yeah.
There was a change. So when we go from not being able to use our full potential to being able suddenly to be able to use our full potential, there was no change. There was no increase. There was no, and not even like just visible. Like, it's like the characters didn't even seem to give a fuck.
Maybe the power was just
like nothing.
Make the story.
Like it wasn't. It was kind of a pointless piece to toss in there that Father was blocking their ability. We can feel the souls in the ground, and it's like, okay, I guess that was telling them there was a tunnel through the whole country, getting ready to,
Sloth was fucking making a big ass fucking.
Which even when you get to that was pointless. The big circle in the country, that was fucking useless and pointless.
And because they had the solar eclipse.
They had the solar eclipse. They used the the big tunnel thing, and Father used up the big tunnel thing to do something to the 5 people that he had trapped, and then he used them to be able to snatch God.
To open
the gate to try to get to God and try to take God within him. And it was like, what the fuck did you just do? Because they made it seem like he was about to kill everybody in the country.
He did.
But did he?
He made a Philosopher's Stone enough energy to control God. That's what Hohenheim said.
And then failed miserably.
The solar eclipse. He made that's when the transmutation circle happened. But Hohenheim had the reverse because he knew what was happening.
Right.
He used all that power to make pretty much a Philosopher's Stone to have enough energy, 50 million people,
right,
to make to put God on a leash, a very very leash, but a leash none the same.
A very what leash?
What leash?
A very small leash.
There we are. Nobody can see you.
Yeah, I know. But he it was pretty much putting a giant fighting pit bull on like a 6-inch
piece of twine.
I mean, okay. He absorbed the ghetto statue. Cool. With the.
He don't know what that is.
Yeah, no, it's about. But anyway, so he absorbed the ghetto statue of the 10 tails, and or he absorbed God with this giant thing. But it's like he needed these 5 sacrifices, these 4 sacrifices, and then he needed Hohenheim as part of his sacrificial group to be able to summon the eye on the moon, to be able to summon that. But
right.
What did he? Okay, he did the big transmutation circle, right? After getting his 4 sacrifices, did his big transmutation circle, and then snatched his 4 sacrifices up after the big transmutation circle to open up to use them, I guess, as human sacrifices, which he didn't sacrifice anybody. Everybody was fine after he did what he did.
No, everyone died.
No, they didn't.
Right.
No, they didn't.
Dude, you're missing. Okay.
Some people died, yeah, but they didn't.
No, 50 million people died.
And then the 5 people that he used as human sacrifice. What was the correlation to him sacrificing 50 million people, right? Sacrificing 50 million people and then using the 5 human sacrifices to open up to do whatever the fuck he did, and then those human sacrifices not dying.
Okay. What he used those 5 people for were because they used human transmutation. The wife.
Right. That's why he picked them, but
to
what did
open
he
up
do with
the eye of truth. To open up the eye of truth. The people were the energy to control the God.
But the 5
people
were human sacrifices
to open up the eye of truth.
But he didn't sacrifice them.
He did. He used them to open up the eye of truth.
Then why call them human sacrifices if they're not being sacrificed? He sacrificed everybody else, but not the human sacrifices.
He put them in a circle and they didn't die. So
he put them in a circle.
This shit is at certain points of this show, it's extremely convoluted. At certain points, these people make decisions and solve a riddle in ways that don't make fucking sense. It's almost like, hey, Edward, I need a new pair of shoes. Oh, you know what? There's a butterfly over there. Oh, and that butterfly will lead us over to a flower bush. And that flower bush will lead us over to some tiger skin. And you can get a new pair of shoes, Ed. That's how they go about their fucking storytelling. And it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I don't understand why they call them sacrifices to 5 people, but everyone else was sacrifices to, and those 5 people were to make to open the eye.
Because you saw how they did it.
I understand why you say why they call them sacrifices. Why did they call them sacrifices? But they were used to open up the eye of truth, and the other people were used to control God. That's the thing. I don't know why you call them sacrifices though. And I feel like they did Roy Mustang dirty, cutting his eyesight out because he wanted to save his girl.
Yeah.
He didn't have to though. He didn't have to.
Yeah, he did.
5 seconds later, fucking Mao Ying fucking showed up. Mei Ying. Something like that.
Yeah, but he was going to kill her before then. He was going to kill her. The gold-toothed doctor. He was like, come on, Mustang, come open up this gate. No, man, no. Come open up this gate, boy. I got you.
I save your girl.
I don't know, man. I just feel like a lot of the way they decided to tell the story and solve the mysteries was useless. And I feel like once you got to the end of the show, it felt like every fucking episode from the first like besides the first episode and the last two episodes were completely unimportant. Like everything in the middle was so fucking unimportant. Like even down to meeting like Greed and friends. Like, what the fuck did he do that for? So he can be closer to God? Like Hohenheim said, like, nigga, that was stupid. That was real stupid. For you to be like as smart as you are, he wasn't a good villain.
He was a dwarf in the flask. He had big ambitions.
He wasn't a good villain. It wasn't a good show. The main characters were psychopaths, and the world fucking congratulated them for it. Like, gave him infinite fucking money and the ability to go do whatever the fuck he wants.
Because they're a state alchemist.
Even when the president knows that, like, he's against him, when the Führer knows that, like, oh, this fucking alchemist is against me, that's okay. You can go on a journey and go do what the fuck sense does that make?
Because the homunculus thought they were better than them.
All right.
He was a bug to them.
Whoa. Before this turns into a back and forth for 2 fucking hours straight.
I mean, I needed this debate. I mean, I need you to join in this debate because, like, I will say
the thing about Wrath.
This show y'all asked me to watch, and y'all said was a good show. Oh, good show. And I've heard many people around the world talk about it's a good show. It's a good show. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, once you actually, like, look at this shit, like, what the events are doing and what people are doing and how they're doing, this shit doesn't make any sense. You're not going to tell me that look at Greta Thunberg. A 16-year-old is not going to change the mind of military people. Fuck you. It's not going to happen. You're not going to tell me don't kill those guys because somebody loves them and I'm going to listen. Fuck you. I'll shoot you too, bitch. Like, what are you going to do? Pull up a wall? Fuck off. Like, dude, the fucking Planeteers have better powers than these goddamn alchemists. These guys suck. They don't even have as much creativity as a Green Lantern. Like, everybody does the same fucking 3 moves. This is like having a fucking Pokemon, like playing Pokemon, but everybody has Geodude. This show fucking sucks. Like, fuck this show.
The thing with Wrath being like, okay, go off and go do this journey and everything, Wrath had his shit handled. Wrath had his shit handled to the very end. Right or wrong?
Wrong.
Right or no?
Wrong as a bitch.
Wrath just happened to die.
No, he died by Scar.
No, Wrath took a beating. Like, Wrath took a beating. Ain't no happen to die. He took a fatal blow with the bullet that went through his lungs. You know, he got fucked like it. That was the fight.
They were lucky that Wrath died.
That was the fight Wrath had been prepared his whole life for. Like, when they created Wrath, they knew Wrath wasn't going to live at that fight. But they needed him to stick around just long enough.
They needed an Omni-Man to stick around.
Steve?
I will say something. Like, you ever notice that apparently with the title of Führer comes a mustache? Did you notice that at the very end?
Who else had it? Did Roy have it?
Roy had a fucking mustache. When he became...
I don't remember Roy with a mustache.
He became Führer and he had a mustache. Steve, go ahead. Cause I gotta.
What do you mean? Last episode that I saw. Let me see.
That's the very end. Roy had a mustache.
Let me see.
Roy had a mustache.
I don't remember that because
I don't think that's real.
The last thing I remember was the old man, the one that was pretty much like the top guy in West. That was or in East. That was Colonel Mustang's like. A top guy.
Yeah, he was Hokage until
Roy Mustang take over.
Yeah, I don't remember Mustang having a mustache at the end though.
Yeah, I don't remember Mustang because I remember Mustang being blind until they talked to Havoc because Havoc was in the chair.
Well, they had the Dr. Marco
had a Philosopher Stone that Kimberly
Stone, and he was going to use it to repair Mustang. Colonel Mustang.
Give him his sight back.
Then Mustang
said, well, hold on, let me get Havoc in on this. And when they took Mustang's people from him, was that traumatic to anybody? Did anybody give a shit? Because like you got to meet Havoc once before he was out of commission.
No, like
you got to meet him once before he was out of commission.
When,
the Mohawk guy that he had and the little nerd guy he had, you got to meet them once before they got taken. It was like, who gives a shit?
what about Hawkeye?
Now Hawkeye, I gave a shit about because like I felt like Hawkeye was like his girlfriend on the side that nobody really was talking about.
No, we won't talk about that.
I think motherfuckers was being kind to not speak about that.
Oh yeah, he slid them cheeks.
Mind your business.
Mind your
Mind
business.
your business. That ain't got shit to do with the show. Who's sliding whose cheeks? It don't matter.
Pure King Bradley, as a person, go fuck himself. As Wrath, best.
He was a good person.
No, he wasn't.
He chose that wife.
He was a good father and a good leader. No, he was not a good leader.
He was not a good father. He was a great leader. He kept shit under control. If it hadn't have been for those, how does Scooby-Doo say it?
Meddling kids.
Those meddling kids. Everything would have went without a hitch.
Those half metal kids.
There wouldn't have been no fucking problems.
No, those full
metal kids.
And that's what I mean about fucking Bradley not having his shit under control. Is because he did allow those fucking kids to go out there and get in the fucking way.
Well,
like
because
if
human
Wrath
sacrifices.
had his shit under control, you can keep a human sacrifice chained up in a basement.
Yeah, you could.
And with that,
you could have totally done that. I mean, like he could have done anything. What was anybody going to do? He was King motherfucking Führer King Bradley.
He is the law.
Now,
was there any moments in the show, I'm asking both of you, that hit the soul hard? No?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There was one moment. And then I immediately understood that don't ever let that happen to you again in this show because they'll tell you it's fucking useless. Yeah, the Chimera thing. So
I think he made his point on that one.
No. I haven't made that point. That actually bothered me because I'm a father and I have one child. I have a little girl who is like the most precious thing in the universe to me. And I cannot imagine that a man would take either man's best friend or his daughter and
mush them
together.
Fusion dance.
Like I just
Fusion dance.
I can see that with your best friend as a dude. Be like, hey man, hey Roger, how about you and Pungo come get together and do a fusion dance? I can see that happening. And you have your best friend dogman ever. But I couldn't see you doing that to your daughter and your dog. That's fucking ridiculous.
I will admit that moment in the show, like when Edward walked into the room and saw it, like we knew. As the viewer, we fucking knew. And Edward didn't know. Right?
Alfie, did you know?
Well, it's been spoiled a million times. And when I saw his glasses, I was like, he's the fucker. Like
He's the fucker.
But I was sitting there like thinking to myself, like Edward's walking up to it, and I'm just like, oh no. Oh my God, no. And it was like, hey, you figured it out? And it was like, Edward. Woo!
That was one of those things I don't know if I liked or disliked about the show. That like the audience knew well ahead of time before everybody else knew anything. And then you had to like slowly watch these assholes figure it out.
Oh, the look of like realization on Edward's face was priceless. My man went, oh, you can't see it. But yeah.
And then I was upset that they didn't do anything about it. Like,
Scar did.
Scar is not from Central.
Scar sure as fucking
Scar
shit did
is
something
not
about it.
Armesian. I was really disappointed that like they was kind of like, oh well, yeah.
You weren't supposed to do that.
I know.
Yeah, I mean it was like, I mean, don't get me wrong. They set up a trial for him apparently, but like you don't leave a motherfucker in his house. You go to jail, bitch. Like you do like something.
Just a little slap on the wrist.
They was like, all right, you can sit in your house with your creepy chimera thing. We'll come back and get you. And then they're gonna tell Edward, see, these are the lessons you have to learn about like what it's like to be alchemist in this world. Like these are the lessons you have. And like, what lesson did he learn? Don't turn your daughter into a fucking chimera. Like what? He didn't. They like. I guess the lesson was like sometimes people do fucked up shit and there's red tape and you can't do nothing about it. Which again kind of leads me to King Bradley about letting those kids go out about their thing.
Hey,
and then having like
don't do that.
Then like having Kimberly sit behind them, and it's like this whole time there's this cool tense atmosphere of like Kimberly's here to kill them, and they need to kill Kimberly, and then like Scar's over here fucking somewhere. There's like something is going to pop off sooner or later. Kimberly has these chimera things with him. Something is going, and then it never does. And like it never does.
Big old tease.
It kind of did for a TT, and then Hohenheim saved the day.
So what you're saying is Full Metal Alchemist is basically a stove full of pots, but none of the eyes are on. It's like we have the ingredients for everything, but we're not cooking them.
Full Metal Alchemist is a house full of hookers, but you ain't got a penis.
Damn. You
like,
a Ken doll.
Like you're a Ken doll. I was about to say you're a Ken doll. That's what Full Metal Alchemist is. Like, just as soon as you think the excitement's about to happen, you look down and remember you ain't got nothing.
Damn it!
Not again.
Fucking.
All right.
Sucks.
For me, worst parts, Hughes. Greed dying. Hughes dying. And I can't. I'll think about it later. But yeah, I don't know why you guys don't feel like that. Like, it was very early in the show, but come on, man. Like, it showed that anybody can die, even if you have a blue shirt.
Yeah, but Maze Hughes was a fucking nobody.
No, he was somebody.
He had a daughter.
Okay.
And a wife.
And a wife.
Hey, and so did that one guy. Maze Hughes was a fucking nobody. And so was Maria Ross.
He was Roy Mustang's best
she
friend.
was a super fucking nobody. So bad that when she showed up at the end of the show with ammunition, it was like...
Would you forget her?
No, I didn't forget her, but when she showed back up, hey, it's Maria Ross. Like, so bitch, just drive the fucking truck and shut the fuck up. Like, just go. Like, who gives a shit? Like, that could have been anybody driving that truck. That could have been anybody. Like,
They could have been Barry the Chopper.
They often showed somebody in the show that, like, didn't fucking matter and made you try to, like, again, Mustang's team besides Hawkeye. Mustang's whole fucking team, but, like, who gives a shit?
I like having...
Which this is going to bring me somewhere. I have a question about the homunculi. Homunculus. Okay.
Homunculi is a singular term?
So, homunculi is the plural.
Singular term. Homunculi is the plural.
Oh, my bad. See how bad I did English.
Yeah, tooken.
Took it.
Mm-hmm.
Semantics.
Anyway, so Wrath.
Okay.
We got to see how Wrath was built, how his whole situation worked. And later down the road, we understand that Father just took pieces of his humanity out.
Yeah.
And was able to, because he's a God thing, man. He was able to get pieces of himself out and then implement it into somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So, King Bradley, he was an orphan child, snatched up. Who fucking knows what his real name was?
Yeah, pretty much.
And he was trained in this secret ninja program, this Batman-esque level program to become like the king.
Shadow Ninja.
Right? Mm-hmm. So we did all this training. We used up all this food, all these resources, all this time, all this money on these people to make them to have like this fighting style we want them to have and to be like this elite badass. We train them mentally and physically just to put somebody else's soul in their body.
Well, you have to have a good body for that soul.
For the physically, yes. But for the mentally, however, they killed a ton of those fucking experiments just trying to get to the last step of the experiment. Which, like, you didn't have to go through such lengths to put rat. Because, I mean, honest to goodness, you could have fucking took a baby and put him in rat. Like, you could have killed a bunch of babies.
All right.
I mean, like, over here, you could have just experimented on babies. And then the baby who lived got to be rat.
What they did was basically survival of the fittest.
Like, the mental part of it doesn't matter. It was the physical aspect. It was them being physically strong enough. Now, if you had done it to a baby and it having Wrath's brain inside of it, soul inside of it, it would have eventually become King Bradley. Like, why would it not have? If it was able to take the homunculus juice and survive, the baby, it was going to be Wrath. It was going to be Wrath inside of it, and Wrath was always going to listen to Father. and father was going to demand that this motherfucker learn to fight. And you're gonna be the king of this shit when you become 18. We'll make you the king of this shit. No big deal. It's our country. It's a fucking what do you call it? A puppet legislation. Who cares? Why go to such extreme lengths to make something that would have been made anyway?
There's two possibilities to this. First off, the baby might have not survived.
Right.
Been alive
Right.
Bring in the next one.
What, just like all the dead adults that they fed
But
and,
they also-
and trained and spent money on?
But they also, it's the fucking government. It's their money.
Why spend it that way?
So I think what
Stupid.
they're getting at with that was it was survival of the fittest. They were making someone who was able to survive all this, their reflexes, their fucking strength, because like even when they did give Wrath that part of the father, he even said, "I don't know if I'm still me, but I still have those because he's still there. That's still him, right? But it's also now something else."
Right.
So I think what they were getting at was they had survival of the fittest with all of those experiments and everything. And whoever was able to withstand it all, right, was the one who became Wrath, who became the king, right? I think also what they wanted was they wanted someone who wasn't like, I want to say not someone who, the person of the people, right? Like they didn't want, because you saw Sloth. I don't think they wanted that, is what I'm getting at. Like, they didn't want to put that in a Wrath and that just be it. I think they wanted someone who had the personality, the cunning, the person who was strong enough to beat all of those other people to become king.
Right. And if you'd have started as a baby,
Then
you would have gotten to have that complete, you would have got the same result if you'd have started as a baby. Because it's not like father was going to let him slack on training.
well,
He
obviously,
still was Wrath. Like at the end of the day, King Bradley was Wrath.
but I don't.
He wasn't King Bradley. King Bradley wasn't King Bradley. Like even if you took Wrath out of him, he was still just a blank canvas that they created. That they went to extreme lengths to create this canvas just to cover it in black paint. Like you made this canvas out of the finest silk that you can get off of sheep from Himalayas, and then had it mended by gold Chinese women and not golden veil. What do you call those things? The silk making shit. Where you make silk.
Fuck, I know.
The silk wheel. A golden silk wheel. Chinese women.
Golden Chinese women.
Chinese women with a silk wheel, a golden silk wheel, and then had angels fart on it, and then
drop the paint or
and
a
then
bear paint can.
Right, and then just drop the bear, and that's what they did. And it was like, why did you go to all those lengths to get the same results you would have gotten if you just would have murked babies?
I want to.
You don't mind just murking babies. You don't mind.
I want to say that the possibility is that the baby wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, just like the adult men that they spent all those time and resources on.
Well, there was only like 4 or 5 people that died before Wrath showed up.
Bradley was like what, number 15? He was like number 15 or 12 or 15, something like that. And then the Gold Tooth Doctor continued the experiment up to like 27 because he's an asshole.
He's a fucking asshole.
He's a fucking asshole.
And just let the government be the government.
These people are just being assholes just to be, and this is why they lost. This is why they lost.
Well, you should be telling Father what he did
like
wrong.
And then on top of that, the question that I really, 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 really have is if that's how Father was created, right?
Yeah.
That they had to like go through these extreme lengths to raise babies to become
Wrath,
not Father.
Excuse me, Wrath. If this is how Wrath was created, that they went to these extreme lengths to make somebody that was going to be Wrath, right? Like, whatever. What did they do to Lust?
They found a whore on the street.
How did they make? No. Because you got to be a special whore that's going to be the whore, right. Everybody has to be super fucking special. And I mean, according to the logic that you guys are trying to feed me, this bullshit.
Well,
this whore. No.
Envy was a bug.
No. They would have found a woman or a babies. They'd have gathered a bunch. I guess when they were snatching babies, they took all the female babies and had them in the next room over and was like, all right, you guys are going to learn to be horse.
You're going to learn to be horse.
And like all the ones who didn't grow in the chest, at a certain age, they probably offed them. And like, oh, you weren't good enough to be a whore. And with envy, what did they do? Did they go find a meadow of grasshoppers and then like bred out the small ones until they got big ones and was like, you'll be the best grasshopper, and threw a fucking stone into that? And then what did they do with pride?
They found a baby.
They found a baby. They found a fucking baby. Look, they can do that. They can find babies and do shit to them, right? And fucking gluttony. What were they doing? Just going?
Made him.
Were they going from? No. These are all babies that they took, and like I guess they just I guess they did
man.
You're
just going crazy now.
Like 400 baby jars with these babies in the room.
Okay, all right. Gluttony is a failed the truth. That's what
gluttony is a failed gate of truth. Right,
yes.
Right. But gluttony is a homunculus as well. Yeah. Which, if homunculus are all made the same way that King Bradley was made,
that was just how King Bradley was made.
That's how King Bradley was made. So what is what's the stopwatch from then? That's what I was saying. They found a giant cricket.
They found a giant cricket
and fucking threw some homunculus juice in it.
How was father made? He had blood from fucking Hohenheim or Slave 23.
They still don't really explain where the fuck that came from. But like
Hohenheim woke up one day and had gas in his fucking his tube, and shit was.
And that don't make sense. They're like, he came from Hohenheim's blood. Could you show us him dropping a vial of blood or a drop of blood in a fucking?
No, they're not gonna power puff girl this shit.
They're just like fucking something happened, and like it's like something happened, accept it.
Yeah,
and like okay, this is how King Bradley was made. But they did the same thing with Greed, not Greed. What's his name? Motherfucking the fat one.
Yeah, Gluttony.
Gluttony did the same thing with him. There's a baby, a bunch of babies, and they just
every time there's just one baby.
There's several babies in a room, and they overfeed these motherfuckers until they're 20, until they're 18. They overfeed their fat asses, and like all the babies that die during the process of being overfed aren't going to be gluttony. And the ones that survive, they take like the 25 that survive this horror, and then take them in a room and drop homunculus juice in them, and one of them is going to be gluttony.
One's gonna do it.
And then like, what did they do with sloth? Did they like fucking take a bunch of babies and make them lift weights for like fucking days? And
there
then
was one that was eating cake, and one was fucking eating protein powder.
One was eating protein powder. One was eating cake. One was a grasshopper. One was a grasshopper. One was just a kid that. What was that about? What was pride about? No one fucking knows.
He was the first homunculus too.
And greed. Like, so they took a baby. They took a bunch of babies, and like all the babies who didn't want to share their toys, those are the ones who got to move forward. Like what the fuck? Like, this is so fucking like they tried to give King Bradley a cool story, but all it did was fuck up everybody else's stories.
So if they wouldn't have showed that, it would have been perfectly fine.
I'd have been like, well, where these fuckers come from? How did this work? Now, if Father would have just said, I just shed these motherfuckers out, I'd have been like, all right.
Fair enough.
I'd have let that slide. And not said nothing. But no, you want to give me this big, long story about King Bradley and how he came about? Well, how did lust come about? I need to know. Need to know. Like, did they just like go snatch up the babies at the back of the brothel? Like all the
ones in the dumpster,
prom night dumpster babies. Is that what they did? They just snatched them up and was like, "You're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl."
Ah, boy, put it back.
And then like envy.
No. It's like, oh, it's a boy. Feed him a lot of food.
Like I just
prom night dumpster baby.
I mean, really, bro. I'm singing along. Anyway, but like seriously, dog, like it raises so many other questions that can't be answered by this stupid ass show. Like, because this stupid ass show didn't think far enough. They just
kept writing.
It's like having an argument with somebody about a topic you have no fucking idea what to. They just keep changing shit. I think the writing is stupid. I think the animation is cool. I think the story's garbage. I think nothing makes fucking sense in that world. Like, not even by their own standards. And I think the fight with the gold tooth doctor, everybody in the room just forgot they had superpowers. Especially Roy fucking Mustang.
Bam, bam.
That was when I lost faith in Roy Mustang in the fight with the room with the gold tooth doctor. Because like the only time he even went to snap was like at the end of the fight, and they slice his glove.
Hey, he was like, oh yeah, right.
Like nobody was using transmutation. Like I don't even think Edward had his little sword. That was his best idea.
Yep.
A little sword.
Yep.
No wonder he got mopped up every time you saw him fight.
Oh, no Jutsu.
Garbage ass Jutsu. Sorry ass Edward.
Philosopher, no Jutsu.
His daddy was garbage. His daddy was a piece of shit.
He was a piece of shit father, but he was alright.
He was a piece of shit person. Piece of shit thing.
Because he was a philosopher.
Hohenheim couldn't have stopped this problem.
He was a living philosopher.
Hohenheim couldn't have stopped this shit earlier.
No.
No. He had to wait 10 million years.
Yep. Because he had to talk to 5,326 victims.
All right.
Hohenheim is probably the worst character in the show. Like, besides Major Armstrong, Pretty Princess Major Armstrong.
Oh, come on, man. He made everything beautiful.
He did not. He did not.
Made everything beautiful.
He did one thing the whole show and was half useful because the other half belonged to the guy who doesn't talk. Izumi's husband.
Oh.
Like,
no, he talks.
Armstrong was garbage. Fucking Colonel Firefingers forgot he had fire fingers at the most important time.
Spicy fingers.
Like, I don't like anybody at the end of the day.
All right. Jeez, you guys. Jeez.
I mean, Ying was still Ying. He was still cool. Ling, whatever the fuck his name was. He was cool as a bitch. Him and Greed. I wish he had Greed back. That was cool.
That was sad.
That was probably the saddest part for me.
Sad?
It was sad. They had to give up Greed. Greed had turned around finally.
You mean when Father snatched it back?
He's like, give me my shit back.
Anyway.
Come back, Greed. I need you right now. I need you.
Final thoughts, Steve?
Final thoughts is, like I said in the beginning, I still like the show, even though Gaddafi fucking said this show is like what he's going to see in hell on reruns. That's all he's going to watch.
He's going to be tied to the tree like Frieza watching Full Metal Alchemist for all eternity.
All eternity.
My philosophy is better than yours. Don't kill those people. They have family.
They should have trimmed some of the fat, and some of the sad boy moments is like sad boy moments, but I still like the people, even though they're psychopaths.
Oh, by the way, I will say one thing. I fucking called it way ahead of time that the Elric brothers were not from that country. Like I saw them with their they got the blonde hair and the gold eyes. No one else in the fucking show had the same shit until you saw them people. You saw the people who died. Like I call that shit
Xerxes.
well ahead of time.
In Xerxes.
Where I'm like, they're not from this fucking country.
Because they're an old race. Like Hohenheim is like an old, like a 300-year-old.
Well,
man.
I know that. I know, but like
Stone.
well before they even talked about Xerxes, I was like, they're not from here.
Because of the main characters, they gotta be different somehow. How'd you know Alphonse was different because it was a suit of armor?
I mean, look at it.
All right.
They showed him as a boy. Because like it was like I'm gonna go off the fact that they have blonde hair and gold eyes, and no one else in the fucking show had blonde hair and gold eyes except for Hohenheim.
Hey, and father because
fucking father's Hohenheim. Anyway,
what I wanted to say was, Teacher and Mustang look almost exactly the same. If you would have swapped hair, they would look exactly the same. Major Armstrong, he's still my guy, but he needs to get better at what he's doing because he's trash sometimes. Gaddafi, fuck you. This is a decent show. You don't have to fucking say it's trash.
Gaddafi, what's your opinion?
Yeah. Full Metal Alchemist, 7 out of 10.
You said the same thing about Desert Punk. I don't trust you anymore, Steve.
Okay.
Now,
that's fine.
My final thought on this show, in all honesty, it sucks. It sucks.
Everyone has an opinion.
This writing is terrible. Like, maybe it was the bright, pretty colors that keep people interested. Maybe it was the tears. Maybe it was that piano. because that piano is just as prevalent as Naruto's swing set. It actually is. That piano comes on 3 times an episode. Like, that shit, like, the next time I hear somebody holler, Naruto sucks, but Full Metal Alchemist is awesome, I might slap the fuck out of him. I just might.
Naruto sucks, but Full Metal Alchemist is awesome.
I know you don't mean that. Matt, final thoughts?
Again, like I said at the start of the episode, it's aight. Like, hearing, coming back and hearing an outside, like, source on how the writing wasn't full circle, I kind of see it now too, which kind of affirms it. But at the same time, it's a fun show. It can be.
Where? When they're playing the piano?
When they're playing the piano.
Real fun then.
When they play the outro. The intro and the outro. When it's not playing the actual show, it's fun.
Hey, when the fusion dance happens, it's great.
It's weird.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening today. We are the Fighting Couch Potatoes.
Catch us on all our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And also, if you're going to catch our podcast, catch it anywhere you can catch podcasts.
Is that bad?